I tried to smoke salmon roll in the boat.
Oh, I thought that was you going like popping your mouth or something. Like that was
I was
not
hitting that thing.
good.
I hit this. I had this smoke salmon roll, and the one was like pretty much
Oh.
I tried to smoke salmon roll in the PLA.
So we're back.
Oh my god.
Carhartt gang
After a
is
long hiatus.
after a long hiatus.
Yeah, so we're back.
I forgot because I had to go to Maine. So I had to make the rounds. I had to do my drop off.
What'd you drop off?
Confidential. So we're back. It's Woo Wednesday.
You know it's back here with the automatics. We gon' send them to heaven. Wait.
We're doing Batman 1989 release from Prince. It's his third soundtrack release, and it's a very strange movie. I saw it. Really weird. It was
Who's Batman in that one? Who's
Michael Keaton.
Christian Bale.
Yeah. Getting into
Shake the
it.
rust off. Oh man.
What were your guys' first thoughts about this soundtrack review? I don't know. We haven't done any soundtracks yet, but what did you guys think about this pop soundtrack? I feel like we have a much better grasp on this type of music. So what was your initial thoughts?
I thought at first listen, I thought it was pretty catchy. It was pretty upbeat, and I liked it. It was a fun listen. All the instrumentals were really well, except for the two ballads on there. Besides that, they're kind of like in your face, kind of upbeat, up tempo, and I.
So this is my first full Prince album listen through. My mom, big fan of Prince. Victor, big fan of Prince as well. So I only hear it whenever they put it on. There was some bumps on there on first listen. I was definitely bobbing my head. A lot of cool, interesting background instruments that I took note as well. There seemed like there was a lot of effort put into this.
I enjoyed parts of it, but I think overall I was kind of underwhelmed. I think I expected it to be I've heard so much great things about Prince and how he's this superhuman artist, and I just felt like it was a little less than what I expected from him.
First thing going into it, we're just going to talk about sort of the start off really strong with some upbeat, tone setting shit. So what did you guys think of the first two tracks, which I think were some of the strongest ones, The Future and Electric Chair? What did you guys think about?
I really like The Future. It's one of my highlights off of this album. So obviously starting off with the sample being the Batman, and then after that, beat one, it just starts that groove. I really love this hook on this song. I've seen The Future and it hurts. I think he delivers that really well. But Electric Chair, I thought it was a pretty standard pop song. It wasn't really crazy in terms of musical production in that song.
For me, it was kind of the opposite. I preferred Electric Chair. The Future I just felt was a little more lively, and upbeat. I guess disliked The Future. It just felt a little too reserved, I guess, for me. Nothing really popped.
I like both of them pretty much. I like that vocal behind the hook. I thought that was really cool. And then Electric Chair, that one line about the notes in the song I thought that was fun.
For me, I was a big fan. I think The Future was a great song, very solemn and a great vocal sample, bouncing all over the place. It's like typical 80s stuff, but I think he does it really well. And it's an interesting idea that, this is kind of an interesting album. I don't think he totally delivers on the dark Batman crime fighting world tone. Really develops, this dark future where we live in the city and we need Batman to save us or some shit like that. And Electric Chair, over time I grew, because the first time I listened to it, I was totally entranced with the electric guitar, crazy and electric besides Die. Yeah, so now we can talk about what Scott was getting into, the more ballad songs. What did you guys think of The Arms of Orion and Scandalous? Because they're, really the taste of the slow jam Prince. Were you guys a fan?
No. Simply put, I was not a fan of it. It felt almost painful to listen to, especially Arms of Orion. I really didn't like that one. I'll just be upfront about it. Super generic.
I agree, they didn't fit for me. I thought it just felt a little sappy. The Arms of Orion one, I'd go across the galaxies for you. It just felt
Yeah.
Over the top.
Yeah, Scandalous I thought was better performance.
Absolute snooze fest. Scandal is 6 minutes long. Bro, come on. Antihistamine.
Jesus, I'm lagging so bad. Oh my god, why am I?
The Happening 2.0 review where we all hate it and then Vic is
Alright, wait, let me.
In it, stupid. Misery.
It was a picture of Vasos.
Oh!
It do not matter.
Oh, man. Oh.
That's a jelly.
Vic is Henry Davis.
Well, my thoughts were on Arms of Orion and Scandalous, a place where I thought that you guys might not like it because it's more of the corny Prince who's really in time with the 80s. I did really like Scandalous. I really liked the texture of the synth, his echoing vocals were really cool. If he was going to make it 6-minute longs, the last couple minutes weren't just, they had his vocals just sort of saying Scandalous and repeating ideas from the song, and then it had the textures. I wish he did more with the instrumental, like maybe have a solo or Arms of Orion. I wasn't mad at it actually, like I really didn't like it, but then recently I listened to it like today. I thought it was pretty fun, pretty like playful. I mean, I just like this Prince sort of corny stuff. I wanted to go into the poppier tracks. So what do you think of Party Man?
I thought Party Man was fun. Probably a little bit more fun than The Future and Electric Chair, but I did think that through more and more listens, it just got a little bit too repetitive for me, like the re-listenability of it. And I think that was my main gripe with the album. I also did enjoy like the little ad-libs and the vocal sampling.
Yeah, I did like the track. I thought it was kind of like a Prince's banger, I guess if you want to say. It was like an 80s banger with a good hook. I dig it. I liked it.
A lot more fun and upbeat, but it did get a little repetitive, I guess.
In my opinion, I was not a fan of Party Man. I just thought it was a pretty boring track as far as party tracks go, and dance, 80s dance, pop, rock, pop, dance, all the things that Prince does. The lyrics were super weak, whereas he can put an interesting perspective on the dance tracks, one of his worst in that lane. So now going into the songs that were some of my personal favorites, Trust and Lemon Dance, that probably flew under the radar for a lot of listeners. It probably didn't chart very high. They're sort of understated, but I was actually a big fan of these tracks. What did you guys think of Trust and Lemon Crush?
Yeah, those are also my two favorites. And Trust, I love the background horn section that he added onto that. It was a great addition. And then in Lemon Crush, it's just the vocal layering and the musical composition, great synth bass line with an excellent hook. This is what I want out of a Prince track.
I liked Lemon Crush more than I liked Trust. It just like Trust I just didn't connect with, but Lemon Crush was definitely, I liked the hook and I liked the vocal chopping of the sample.
I definitely liked Lemon Crush. It was a lot of fun. The texturing I think was great, and the vocal layering, like Carlos said, was definitely good.
Two of the best songs here. I absolutely love these songs, one after another. First listen to, I didn't really like Trust. It kind of flew under my radar, but then after more listens, I think Trust ended up being my favorite song. Just a great groove, R&B groove, something that Prince does well, of all the many things he does well. There was something so tight about, even though he's just saying trust like over and over, but there was just super good melodies to back up the chorus. I absolutely love this song, Trust, super tight. And then Lemon Crush was just awesome. I wanted to hear more of these sounds, like it's the future of pop, vocoders, and sort of unflattering ways to hear his voice, but I thought it came out well. So now it comes to honestly the most important song is Bat Dance, the closer to the album. I think it's honestly, he could have just made a single. I think I heard something like he was approached to do a song, and I think maybe he did Bat Dance or something like for the album, and he was just like, fuck it, I need like something to inspire me, so he like made the fucking whole album just because he could.
This is the one that charted the most, really. To me, this feels more like soundtracks. Their tropes of how to end a soundtrack is kind of like a medley of most of the songs with like some new ideas, but that's what it was for me. Out of all the songs, I feel like it just changes up a lot, but I still was a fan of it.
I thought it was more of like a medley than like a song, but I think that kind of like works to its strength, because some of the other songs on the album are kind of repetitive, and this track just gives you like a little pocket of time to like enjoy that time to like the next one. The highlight of this song and for the album for me was the guitar solo. I wish there was more of on the album, because I know he's a phenomenal guitarist. I would have liked to hear him play more.
Yeah, this for me is top 2 on this album. I really liked it. My favorite part for sure were that guitar solo around 2 minutes, and then around like 2:50, Stop the Press. Like, who is that? Like, that was so cool. And then they came in with those like crazy guitar licks. I thought that was a lot of fun. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the song. It was a great closer.
I don't know if you guys know this, but like he was like an incredible instrumentalist. Like he played every instrument. Like he played drum set, bass, guitar, keys. Like he played everything, and he was incredibly talented. you just can't pin him down. Like he just doesn't care at all. Like, this song, you have to pay attention really closely to the samples, but it actually takes you through the whole movie, just with these weird like vocal lines that don't totally support the narrative. I thought there were some really cool drumming sections and some great breakdowns. I liked how he mixed in the Batman vocals from himself along with the vocal sample. I think it's just really tight sampling. What do you guys think about this album shooting forward? Would you say that you would want to hear more? I think that this album really has a lot of the great parts of Prince, but it doesn't quite pull through.
I think I would want to hear more. I would probably want to hear like, the stuff that made him really famous so I can understand. But I would want to have some context and be able to compare this to his, really successful stuff so I can understand his best works and how good he can really be.
I would love to hear more of the stuff that I enjoy off of this album.
Just a question for myself. Does he get any more experimental? I feel like, I guess Bat Dance was a little experimental.
He doesn't really do like experimental in the way that Bjork is experimental or in the way that a lot of other pop artists are experimental. He really planted the seeds, but mostly he's just really solid R&B. We can move into like sort of the later sections of the construct that we've created. This flawless construct for how we review
the
things.
society we live in.
So what were your guys' favorites? And then what would you cut?
My two favorites, one that we didn't even talk about, which was Vicky Waiting. I love that song. Yeah, that joke was hilarious, and I loved some.
What was the joke? I don't remember.
He was like, "Why is your organ so small?" And then he goes, "I didn't know I was playing in a cathedral." Yeah, he didn't laugh at all. I loved the delivery of the joke, and then there's like a couple of like spoken lines in there that I really enjoyed. The other one would be Bat Dance.
And what was your cut?
It'd be the ballad.
My favorites probably Bat Dance and Lemon Crush, and then my cut easily the ballads. If I had to pick one, to be Arms of Orion.
Trust, Lemon Crush are my absolute favorites. Both of these are 80s bops, bangers, bops, slaps, whatever you want to call them. Really good. And then probably cut one of the ballads, maybe Scandalous, because I feel like Arms of Orion would be a good sleep song. I don't have to take some melatonin or some Benadryl, so I'll leave that on.
Bro, Vicky didn't laugh at that. Vic did not laugh at that joke. That was not funny.
At all. Oh my god.
Because I skipped over Vicky Waiting because I actually was not I did not like that song at all.
Really?
So I wanted this review to be like I only have positive things
Talk
to
about
say,
you, bro.
and then you guys only have negative things to say. I was not a fan of the mellow groove, and I don't think a lot of the lyrical ideas really pulled through, and it was just like a weird narrative. My two favorite tracks, I think it's so hard because I want to say Trust and Lemon Crush, but I can't sleep on Future because I think the Future was an amazing track. And my cut,
Did you just say you hated that song?
it's not bad. It's okay. I was guessing a little bit. It's not like terrible. All right, I guess I'll say Vicky Waiting because I was already saying. I'll say Vicky Waiting.
One problem I had, I guess,
But you have
maybe
feelings.
the writing in some of the songs. I felt like it was a little one-dimensional. I can look at the track list and I see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 songs are just about like sex and I'm serious, and I think it's a little overdone. I know like Prince is supposed to be like this sex icon. It just feels like he's shoving it down my throat.
I don't think he layers it on that heavily. Just listening to his whole discography of what I've heard, I could definitely see how it could be like a turn off.
I agree with Vic. It didn't really turn me off. I thought it was fine, and I did also recognize that he is this huge sex icon.
Like I can see both sides of it. It is pretty prevalent in the album, and it is pop music. I feel like that's a lot of pop music has a heavy influence in that.
Let's just close it out. Everybody's favorite part. You have to pick a number and say something about it or whatever. So yeah.
You're gonna give us a real controversy here with this number.
Unsure of how it fits within the movie, Prince's Batman soundtrack provides a scope into the talents of Prince's instrumentation and vocals while also showcasing some blips in the track list. 7 out of 10.
That's pretty high. I thought you were gonna go way lower than that. All right.
Oh, I liked it.
I'm gonna give it a 6. I think 6. There were some fun songs, and I could see, I could definitely enjoy it, and it didn't totally connect with me, so I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
I definitely recognize a true genius that went into the album. His vocals are incredible. All the instrumentals are really cool. Didn't connect with me, and over more listens, I just felt I was only listening to it. I wasn't super enjoying the full listen through. I was just listening to it so I could understand what was happening in the songs better for this. For me, I'm gonna give it like a 5.3.
I honestly thought you guys were gonna give it way lower from the way you guys were talking. I thought you guys were gonna give it super low, pretty high.
I'll change my number. I'll give it a
I think listening to a lot of his albums is definitely the worst out of the 3 soundtracks because the other 2 are amazing classics. I'm gonna go with a 7.5. I'm not gonna go too high. I don't think all these ideas kind of jumble together. Like the Arms of Orion kind of doesn't make any sense in here. Vicky Waiting seems rushed in my opinion.
That doesn't.
And so yeah, so that's it. That's our review.